He was born like us, grew up like us, was educated like us, married like us, had children like us. Did everything. And at the age of 21, he had the glimpse of first misery. Not to himself, but in the outside world. And he inquired, can I also suffer like this? And the answer was, everyone goes through this. Everyone goes through the old age. Everyone goes through the sickness. Everyone eventually dies. And he said, this is no life. I have to find an eternal bliss. And on his journey of 12 years, eventually he found the eternal bliss. If he had left the physical body there and then, which he had the perfect freedom to do so, nobody else would have taken any benefit from what he had discovered. The first master of Sikhs, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, had the eternal bliss experience at the age of 37. And for 17 years after that, he just traveled, leaving the family behind, wife, children, household, work he left behind. And what did he do? He just shared. What we are reading here is part of that sharing. So don't be under any illusion that your job will be done if you are blessed enough to achieve that highest state that is your birthright to achieve. You will have a lot more to do. And you would want to do that. How would you do that? The next hymn describes that. What a coincidence, Ken. Isn't it? I didn't choose it. Here is the answer to your questions. Amrit naam mane vasaa-ay. Amrit is a compound word. A means without, mrit means death. When you transcend the death, be careful only. It's not saying you won't die. Because ego is already dead. What was actually calling you who you are, that's already gone. And the physical body is just a shell. It will drop when it needs to drop. But amrit is a very special word in the Punjabi language. It defines that process which, if you were to literally translate in English, it would be called nectar. But that's not what it means here. It's talking of a nectar, but which nectar? not water, not a liquid, but amrit naam. That word which helped you to transcend the fear of death. That is amrit naam. What happens with it? Mane vasaa-ay. It is now part of your breathing process. Mane means your inner self, your mind self, and vasaa-ay literally means to make a residence. To take a permanent residence means vas jana. When you make a permanent resident, that's why the difference between a renter, a tourist, and a householder. What's the difference? These words are not just for the sake of variety. When you make a permanent residence, you become a householder. When you rent a room somewhere, you live for some time. And when you travel somewhere, you rent even for a shorter time. So level of existence, how long you're going to exist. It says when you achieve that highest state, this is how you spread that to the outside world, because that world is now resident within your heart. Of course, whatever is resident in your heart is the only thing that you can share. Is it not? Think about it. If you are angry inside, what will you share with the others when they come to see you? That's the only thing that's going to come out. If you are happy inside, that's the only thing you can share. If you are sad inside, that's the only thing you can share. And if someone else tries to share anything else with you, you will object. Think about it. If you are mourning the death of somebody, and somebody comes and starts singing a romantic song over there, how would you feel? He's feeling very happy inside. And he wants to share a romantic song with you. Would you accept that? Never. You will stop it. Say, hold it. That's not the time to share this. And he says, I'm feeling happy inside. He says, no, but I am feeling sad. I have lost somebody. What does that show you? You can share with others how you are inside, from inside. And when you achieve that state of existence, the only thing that's inside you is amrit naam. There's nothing else. That is why, no matter for 17 years, wherever Nanak went, every question had the answer from that level. That was it. People will say, well, we are having this very, very social problem. And he will give the spiritual solution. Look at the very interesting observation. Arjuna in Mahabharata goes to Krishna to solve a very, very emotional problem. Those who are familiar with Mahabharata, they know that there was a war between cousin brothers. over the property rights. And when the two armies stood opposite to each other, then the leader of one army refused to fight. He said, "They are my brothers. There is a bloodline going on here. I cannot fight." It's a very emotional problem. And he presents that problem to his guide, who's Arjuna. Does the Arjuna solve his social problem? All the answers he gives from the spiritual dimension. The entire Gita, the scripture is completely spiritual, trying to solve an emotional problem. Because he is asking it to look at the social problem from the spiritual level. Don't look at the social problem from the social level. You won't get the solution. Which is what happens to us all the time. If the husband and wife are having argument, it's a social problem, or a physical problem, or an economic problem, is it not? Now you keep on thinking from that angle, you don't get the solution. Because every solution you come up with has a counter argument. So how do you solve that problem? Raise yourself up and look at it from a spiritual angle. The moment you look at it from a spiritual angle, the problem disappears. How? Because spirituality will tell you that the people never fight, it's the egos that fight. Isn't it? Would you like to call yourself and be labeled as an egotistical individual? See how bad it sounds to your own self, much less to the others. If you were to ask yourself, am I an egotistical individual? No, I don't have an ego. Right? You immediately want to get away from that label. So if you don't want to be egotistical, then drop the damn argument. That's what's proving you to be egotistical. The very argument you are holding on is proving you to be an egotistical individual. And the moment you realize from the spiritual dimension, you drop the argument, what happens to the fight now? Right? Everybody says it takes two to tango. And if one refuses to fight, the fight disappears.